Good afternoon, everyone. This is Loren Israelson, President of the United Natural Products Alliance, coming to you from UNPA's global recording studios in my living room. And today we're continuing our series of interviews with the luminaries of the natural product industry. And it is my honor and privilege to have with me today Dr. Ikhlas Khan, who is director of the National Center for Natural Products Research at the University of Mississippi, otherwise known as Ole Miss. Ikhlas and I have been friends for many years, and UNPA has a long relationship with NCNPR, which is embodied in a memorandum of understanding under which we've operated and done a number of great projects together. And my favorite conference of the year is the International Conference on the Science of Botanicals held on the campus of Ole Miss. It's my favorite event, without question. This is a place where FDA gets together with industry, together with the faculty of the program at Ole Miss, and a world-class group of attendees, literally from every continent. It's in its 20th year, and in addition to tremendous program, where we have participation from all of the key players at FDA that are involved in dietary supplement policy and regulation. We have an outstanding program of speakers covering the science of botanicals, but most importantly, we have lawn games. It's unique in that we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner together as a group for 4 days, and then it all wraps up with a program where Ikhlas personally destroys the lives and reputations of as many people as possible. So this is a must-attend event. So with that, it's a real pleasure to welcome you, Ikhlas. And what we'd like to know is for you to share for our audience the fabulous program that we know as NCNPR, the National Center. How did this all begin? This is the biggest campus on the University of Mississippi. It's become globally one of the most important places for botanical research. And it's a great story of how this all began. And we'd love to have you just tell us what the program does, key projects that you're working on, obviously a bit more about ICSB. And I'll certainly have questions for you along the way. So welcome, and we love the new look. We're gonna do a survey to see who wants Ikhlas to keep the beard and the long hair. I'm pretty sure I know the answer.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You already gave the introduction and the background of ICSB and FDA. NCNPR, just to give you the history and the background, School of Pharmacy is pretty well known, well established, more than 100 years. And as you know, most of the schools were focusing on natural product. Still are, all the natural product research is being done under in the School of Pharmacy. So we had a very strong group working on natural product, and as a School of Pharmacy, then the state created Research Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences in the 1960s. That was a state supplement given to the School of Pharmacy so people can do research, and created an institute. And the director of the institute, Dr. McChesney, is the one who had the vision to create another entity, which is called National Center for Natural Product Research, to bring the stakeholders, industry, government, and academia together to expedite the research on the natural product. So that was late 80s and early 90s, and so we got funding from the USDA to create a building, which was supported by USDA. But remember, dosage did not come till 1994. So everything was focused on drug discovery, where we do isolate single molecule and to be developed as a lead compound for pharmaceuticals and with USDA as the agrochemical. That's what we will be doing. We were good at it. And that's still a portion of our center is focusing on isolating new and novel compound with novel activity. But in 1994, when the dossier started, of course, we had a mass new facility, state-of-the-art facility. And that's where I had experience. And just to give you some information on my PhD was about filtration. And if you remember, I did my PhD on echinacea, where we found a rotation. So I was fully aware of it, what needs to be done, what is taken into consideration, and how complex the issue is. And that's somehow based on my expertise. And when I got my own position as a research assistant professor, that's why I started. And the whole thing is, main thing is, it's not going to be easy thing measuring one or two compounds. We have to look at it, all the aspects of botany and chemistry and analysis. It is a multitasking task, multitasking to really deal with all these issues. And that's the whole thing we started. So we got a small grant from a company. We started working on it to develop a lot of methods. In 1994, of course, if you remember, NCAM was started at that time, late 90s, and FDA had need to create some extramural research as a partner in centers. So that time, two centers were created. One was GIFSAN in Maryland, and our center to look into dietary supplements. So we are still the center which is really focused on dietary supplements. And the basic issue was they would like to have a basic science done on this plant for the safety, especially the safety plans, and disseminate information as a workshop that was written in our objectives. And so we started working on the plants like Symphytum and Aristolochia and all these well-known safety issues. But as you know, how the market is started, we don't have what people had in 94 in mind about dietary supplements, and things moved from ephedrine to synephrine and everything else. So the things got more in depth and more analysis. So it became very focused on analysis and authentication. In 2010, it became a GMP requirement of authentication is not about quality analysis method, rather than how you can say you have what you're supposed to have in the bottle. So that's actually the whole program grew from authentication of the plants, doing chemistry analysis, to looking also into the safety and more fingerprinting and more quality assurance, disseminating all the information. So FDA wants us to do research, put in public domain that everybody can use it. Now the workshop part, which was really meant as a workshop, you can imagine now you love to come to Mississippi, but 20 years ago, I had a tough time to really gather people, and there was a lot of thoughts. I never did anything like this, no experience, and getting people to Mississippi. So first one we had here, which was like less than 50 people. We invited the speakers, 1.5 day workshop. The second year we had this workshop in Washington. In that time we were having topics selected. And till then I was thinking not to do it, somehow get out of it. It just takes a lot of time and effort. And it's really not scientists would like to do, but I was told, no, there's no way out. Okay, so if you want to do it, then do it right. So that's where I started bringing all the stakeholders, all the associations, all the people. And I realized if you really would like to do it in the area of dietary supplements, botanicals, we have to build a community. You remember there's us versus them and this and that. There was no cohesive group, especially around the science. There was a lot of industry gatherings were going on. So I took idea from them, and luckily I got support from you. I got support from other associations. The members started coming. FDA people were coming here. They were very supportive from day one. And that's where we build the community. And I think it's really paying off right now, because it creates the environment where we can collegially, we can discuss issues, what needs to be done, what are the limitations. Science does not have all the answers, but it can be a tool to use, and that's the way we have taken it. So ICSB now it become a community gathering, and that's the reason we had a tough time to cancel this year, because we were looking forward to meet everybody, and I'm sure everybody missed it. So ICSB, as you said, it became not only locally nationally, but we also made it global. We always have participants from all the continents: Australia, Canada, Africa, Europe. It's very well attended. It's not too heavy on science that you get bored. The other thing is the way we have put the program together. it does have something for everybody. So it can be regulation, it can be industry talks, it can be scientific talk, it can be toxicity, safety, quality. And now last couple of years, we are adding cannabis to it and also the cosmetics. So these are the things that we are improving, getting the feedback. This is not an association, so there is nobody decide anything. Is the way we have set it up is conference for everybody. So if you have any idea, you have a need, and that's where I get feedback, and Loren helps me also to talk about the program, what is going on, what is relevant to the people, what is the current topics. And I think we get a feedback from all the associations also to really look into that one, that we are going to remain current, not just keep talking about this science and that science, but what is the relevance of science. So we are achieving two things. One is making science relevant and also addressing the issues that people would like to be resolved. So I think that's working out well, I hope, and attendance is growing. Industry participation was very limited in the beginning. Thanks to all of you, I think we are getting a good number of participants and sponsorships, and I think there's a lot of interest for industry to really come and join and really experience. I mean, ICSB is difficult to define unless you come and experience. And I have a lot of people who just, so this is my first time and I'm going to come again. But getting them first time here always difficult. But as you describe, it's a unique experience. And I appreciate that people like it.
It really is unique, Ikhlas, that you can be with FDA staff that at times will be difficult to get a meeting with or to have a conversation with. But at ICSB, not only are you having meals together, you're sharing the scientific and technical programs, but you're also playing games on the lawn, socializing.
Yeah.
It's completely unique. There's nothing like it, and people love it. So
that's right.
Like you, I was deeply disappointed, but you made the right decision to hold off until 2021, and I suspect that the crowd will be the biggest ever. Having missed 2020, that they won't miss 2021.
Yeah,
So
we are looking forward to it.
It'll be great. So Ikhlas, I think in my notes, I have that your program has trained over 700 FDA investigators for GMPs for botanicals.
Yeah.
That's really important, as every company knows that sees an FDA investigator, and they probably wonder, well, I wonder where they got their training, and they go through your program. Could you explain a bit about the curriculum, and they come into you this way, and when they leave, what have they learned? What have they gained?
So this is training is started way back, and by now we have close to 1,000 inspectors that we have trained. They have gone through, or we have been part of their training. So the training is based on 4 days training. So they do a lot of everything else written in GMP. But the part that we participate on, the assessment of the quality and what question needs to be asked and what is dietary supplement, what is quality in first place. Mm-hmm. Remember, the biggest challenge is, and I always keep saying it, that industry has to pay attention to. And now more so, since we are not allowed to hire anybody from outside, is where you're going to get the workforce, how you're going to train your people. So same situation was, so generally, as you know, FDA inspectors are the food inspectors, the pharmaceutical inspectors, and they do have education, they have a training. But when it's come to dietary supplement in US, we don't teach anywhere. And if we teach, some of them are teaching the usage and beneficial effect. Some is teaching the manufacturing part of it, but when it's come to the complexity of dietary supplements and how to assess the quality, I don't think there's a program out there to teach. So if you have people in the lab, at least to ask the basic questions. So what they go through is we could walk them through the real situation about authentication and material, how the plant looks like, they are different, and what are the analytical methods can be used. So we are not giving them any recipe, but rather than a general awareness of of like if you are seeing the raw material, these are the things that you are going to find and probably look at it. If you come to the analytical method, what kind of methods are available and what method is appropriate, just giving a very basic information about. So it's kind of a bringing them in the middle. It's not a food, it's not a pharmaceutics, it's a pharmaceuticals, it's in between, and they should be prepared to educate and ask questions and be more mindful that this is a totally different kind of, it's not a yes or no answer in most of the cases. And so that's the training. They spend a day with us, a full day. And so they get a course, talk about and some hands-on in the garden and also in the lab. And I give a talk about it. So this is just to make them aware. Very big. It's too much for one day, but I try to give the overarching approach for what to look for, how to be prepared. Of course, the biggest thing, as you know, everybody would like to know, if I see this, what should I do? But in this diet supplement, the biggest problem is nothing is defined. Mm-hmm. So if you have a ginseng, it can be in any form, in any shape, but it's a ginseng. So we for us, it's very difficult to say do this with ginseng because we don't know what is mixed with. So, but we are trying to bring the basic concept of GMP, what they should be looking for, what are the complications, and ask the right question. This is everything is limited, and a lot of people are trying to do a good job. But there's the nature of the beast. They probably can't have all the answer. There are people who are really not doing a good job and how to find that out. So, so we trained. So far, we have done close to 1,000 people. But while I'm saying 1,000 people of FDA, I would like to ask industry: do we have 1,000 people trained for GMP in the whole industry?
Yeah, fair question. Fair question. When people see this video, they can respond to us or to you, and that would be a great public debate. So Ikhlas, I want to ask you about something now, is that you just received a grant from NIH as part of the 2020 to 2025 series of grants under the Carbon program. But what you're researching is so interesting. I'll just read the title. This is Spirulina Oral Supplement for Enhancing Host Resistance to Virus Infection. Couldn't be more topical right now. What can you tell us about this research?
I mean, this is very timely, but on the other hand, we probably missed a little bit because we started with flu and now we have a COVID. So, I mean, the COVID is the priority, not the flu, but the basic concept is we do in our center, our research is really focused on authentication, quality, safety, and also efficacy. So that's the project is based on efficacy. So when we started 20 some years ago, looking for the immune enhancing properties of herbs, spirulina came out top of the line. So that has a lot of immune response that can be good. And since then, a lot of work has been done on this spirulina product, and we generated quite a bit of science. And this is just to let you know, this is the only product that right now that we have is standardized on biological activity. It's not a chemical analysis, right? It's based on the product lot is analyzed and based on biological effects. So this is what it's about the immune, but the whole concept is that if it is a dietary supplement, it should be dealt as a dietary supplement. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where people like us, scientists who are trained in the natural product reductionist approach, taking a single compound and trying to really force it to do something and publish on it. We are very pragmatic on it. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, if it does something, it should have some science behind it and then improve it. Also, dietary supplement by definition, which is really a lot of people misses as soon as they say dietary supplement, they started curing it. Our approach is not to cure. It's not about killing virus. Right. It's about developing immunity in the host and see whether we can really lower the impact and severity of it. So virus probably how you feel, how your body is going to respond to it. And that's what the supplement's supposed to do. So
Right,
our approach has been on that direction.
right,
And
right.
so this one, what we are going to do is fully characterize once again, so develop also chemical profiling and standardization, going back again into and doing it thoroughly from the beginning of this spirulina. And by doing some experiment, we are going to be coming up with the formulation or whatever the science is going to tell us, and then it's going to go to the humans. And so that will be, it's kind of a, not a full clinical trial, but it will be clinical efficacy will be tested in humans as a supplement.
Very exciting stuff, Ikhlas.
It is very exciting. We are lucky to have that center. As you know, this is very competitive grants, and
Yeah, yeah.
not only one, we also got into another one. We are collaborating with OSU, so suddenly we are listed in 2 centers. So that's very exciting. I think there's a lot of things are going to come out. It at least proof of concept of dietary supplements, not taking one compound out and trying to do something. And that's why it's not a traditional plant that we all know and work on. This is blue-green algae, which is commonly used. And this is going to really go back to the concept of supplements if it works out. So we will know it, whatever science is going to say, but we had an updater to convince in our grant that yes, that we are on the right track.
Well, keep us posted because that looks extremely interesting given the current circumstances that we're in and so much interest in finding new approaches to strengthen immunity. And
so I think this is the opportunity for the industry to look at it. Yeah, there is a lot of room for innovations and science to bring it up and solidify. Yes, we have traditional knowledge. Yes, we know that traditionally these plants are used. But on the other hand, these plants, the combination that we see in the market, I mean, they have most of them, if you take from one plant from ashwagandha, for example, from India, and ginseng from China, and Brazilian from South America, and put it together, it never has been used traditionally, to be honest. So even though all of them have been used, but that's where we work on the safety issue. There's a lot of room, there's a lot of innovation needs to be done, but innovation, the way is defined, and forgive me if I'm offending anybody, innovation is going on the formulation side. Nanoparticles, this kind of formulation, that kind of formulation, liposomes. But what you're formulating is not really coming out from the newer science and newer indications. So to me, the innovation is really taken into totally different thinking and paradigms, and innovation should be, okay, we know this plant is traditionally used, let's find out, let's work on it, why people claim so much and what is known about it. And of course, it has to be some new science needs to be done if you want to own the product. If you don't want to own a product and you want to sell like everybody is selling, that's fine. But then also debatable in moving in the future, if you look into the down the road, how this industry is going to mature. I mean, it's certainly how you're going to differentiate your product compared to others.
Yeah, exactly.
And the time is coming. And people are running out of this same thing. So I think there's a lot to be done, a lot needs to be done. Good thing about this area is that it's a lot known, a lot available. All this knowledge can be analyzed. It's not that you just do some experiment in the lab and you come up with a new product. There's a lot of anecdotal report that require a little bit science to really guide you, which you're going to need for consistency of the product. I mean, that's the main issue. If you have a new product, how you can be consistent.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of opportunity for people to focus on.
So I think many companies don't know that they could come to the center with an idea to say, could you help us really evaluate this carefully, to do the fundamental work, take it all the way up into much more sophisticated analysis and development. So I think it's important people look at the National Center as a resource for all of us, but also for companies that are interested in innovation and development, that that is also a possibility for members of the industry that they should take advantage of.
We are always open. As you know, the ICSB is a good platform. We are always open. You have known us for a long time. We still tell, as a public institution, we will guide you. The problem is, most of the time people are coming, what is your IP? What have you licensed? What do you have patent? It has to be grass, and it has to be novel, patentable, which really does not exist unless you do some other things like formulations and other things. So for dietary supplement, they can come. The biggest issue that I see, and is going on from day one, is why somebody should invest their resources to identify, characterize, find out what works in one plant, and everybody benefits. And I don't think industry has resolved that. So they are taking advantage, and the marketing, in my opinion, is based on new formulations and going with the same stuff. So basic science is time consuming. It takes some resources. It can be done. But as I said, if you want to own something, you have to invest something. Otherwise, whatever everybody is doing, anybody can do it. But at the end of the day, it's not really contributing to the new science, in my opinion.
Well, with that, Dr. Khan, I want to thank you for your time and long friendship. And we look forward as UNPA to continue working together with you and your team. And look forward to joining you next year at ICSB. And the dates, once again, are what now for ICSB 2021?
2021, I think, is April 1st, if I'm not mistaken, the first week of April.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Yeah,
First week of
it's
April.
on the webpage, and we will be communicating. But we welcome anybody to feel free to contact us or contact you. I mean, you pretty much can give the information.
We will.
But
We'll be happy.
We are available. Join for ICSB. We are here to help. And honestly speaking, we just say it the way it is, and that's probably needed too. People have to stay
You always say it the way it is, Ikhlas, and you have a reputation for calling it straight. And people appreciate that. Every now and again, someone gets a little offended, but that's all part of telling the truth. So we look to you as the true teller in the industry. And so we encourage you to keep that beard going so that we can have a Mark Blumenthal Ikhlas Khan beard contest.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That could be fun. So we wish you good health, and that you'll have some time to enjoy with your family this coming 4th of July weekend. And it's great to see you, Dr. Khan. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
And we sign off
Thanks
from
for the
our
opportunity. Bye.
videos. And thanks to all, and goodbye for now.
Thank you. Bye.